right, welcome to the podcast, episode 6 now? 6, right? I wanted to welcome our buddy John, the actor, model, writer, jack of all trades. John,
basketball player.
Jack of all trades. What, ace of none or master of none. Right? So that's
okay. John, welcome to the show. Appreciate you giving us your time to come on today, man.
It's an honor. It's an honor. No, I'm serious. I'm very happy to be here to chill with you guys. So yeah,
appreciate it, man. Well, John, actually, like the first question we kind of had was before we started this thing, we didn't really like listen to a whole bunch of podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, do you listen to podcasts?
I listen to a lot. Yeah.
Like, what do you listen to right now?
See, I knew it. We kind of talked about this. Like, I said that you would, and Eric was kind of like, I don't know.
I've been listening to audiobooks and podcasts for like audiobooks. I've been listening to them for like 15.
Okay.
So. I think it was my graduation present from college. My brother got me one of those first iPods.
Okay.
Don't mind me.
I was oh my God, it was such a great present.
And you were more at that point 10 years ago. You were
20 years ago. Yeah.
20 years ago. You were more into.
I was into
audiobooks.
Yeah. And then I started getting into podcasts. I don't know when, like 10, 15, 10, 20, whatever.
Really? Wow. So back then, what was when you first started listening to podcasts? What was the podcast that kind of got you hooked?
I was listening to podcasts on and off. So the podcast that got me hooked, I wouldn't say back then I was a regular listener. Mm-hmm. The podcast that got me hooked was probably the Tim Ferriss show.
Tim Ferriss. Okay, so I'm not familiar with me. Yeah. This is a whole new world to me. Eric listened to some podcasts before, and me, I would just be like on YouTube, and maybe I'd run across a Joe Rogan clip that I thought was interesting. Or
that was another one. Actually, Joe Rogan too. That's another one.
Or All the Smoke is one that we like for basketball. So what is the Tim Ferriss show?
That's the idea that I kind of wanted.
I remember New Year's. I said that was a great idea.
Let's do
the huddle.
Yeah, the huddle, exactly.
Guys, do you mind?
Oh, okay.
Before let's do it right.
Gotta start day drinking before we go to our real jobs. It's cool. I just operate a forklift at a childcare facility, so
that's awesome.
Operating the
I'm a valet driver, so
that's good. I'm a taxi driver, so I'm gonna get wasted here.
No, we're just wondering because like before, like I said, we didn't really listen to a lot. Like I listened to like a couple podcasts here or there, but not like religiously. Like, yo, this is my thing. This is where I get information. It was more like if I was looking for some kind of inspiration or something. You know, there are a couple podcasts out there that I listened to get some. It was more like for motivation and whatnot. But now with this, like diving more and looking into them, it's like a whole new world.
Yeah. It's great.
It's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And I think Korea, of all places, this is the reason why years ago I wanted to I thought that would be such a viable business, right? And then there was a Hyung, I won't say his name, but he's in a position to do something like this. I can't. But he said no. Well, I first told him audiobooks, right? And now they have Willa. But this was like 3-4 years ago. I'm like, you got to do audiobooks because Korea is a country, if anything, everyone's on subways, on buses and stuff, right? This is the perfect place for it.
Just hold on, go back. You know the Korean audiobook app?
Willa, yeah, there's a...
And you read books?
No, I don't do, but I would.
So how do you know the app?
Because I've looked into this business.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And they have Willa, they have another one, but then Willa is one of the ones, they're marketing the hell out of like Koreans and... Yeah.
One thing about this table too, just a side note, is it has great acoustics. So if you set your glass down, it's an earthquake.
Very careful.
It's an earthquake. I see Eric like just like...
Every time I come down, it's like you put something down, I'm like...
It's the care of a surgeon, like you're diffusing a nuclear bomb.
You remember
That's why they have little rubber
no
coasters.
Green wire.
Now you remember the game Operation? I feel like it's Operation every time I sit down. I'm like, don't make the buzz.
Wait, what's Operation?
You never played Operation? Oh, he grew up in the Philippines. That's why.
Jesus.
What were you playing? What board games did you guys have?
Oh my God, okay. There was one with shells. I forgot the name. It's like I've seen people playing that game in America. So there's like a big...
Wait, this game came in an actual box you could buy at the store?
No.
You had to pick your shells.
But people would play it. I don't know the name. I totally forgot the name. But so there's like 6 holes on each side. So it's or 7 holes, and then there's 2 big holes like pass go in Monopoly, right? And then each hole has like, let's say, 5 shells.
Okay.
And you have to pick up the shells and boom, boom, boom. Each time you go, you drop one of the shells into another hole, and you're trying to get rid of all your shells.
No, I've seen this. I've seen this one before where you post the shells around, you give the guy $1.
Yeah, or something. Yeah. I mean, people put money on that. Are you joking?
I think you were fucking serious. I think I have seen this at a Jollibee somewhere.
I'm sure it's at a Jollibee.
Wait, so you didn't play any board games when you were growing up?
Of course I did. Clue.
Wait, okay. So John, let's bring it back. Where did you grow up? Because you grew up like in the Philippines and LA. Can you tell us like?
I was born in Korea.
Okay.
Whoa. I didn't even know that. I thought you were born in the Philippines.
No, I was born in Korea.
Nice to meet you. What was your name again?
My name is Chan.
Thank you, ma'am.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Bye then. No, but I spent 12 years there. So I went there when I was 9 months old.
That's got to be awesome. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, all my memories of childhood.
I love it.
All my memories of childhood are, like just riding on the backs of
Is this
jeepneys
Manila?
Around Manila.
Okay.
Different places, but it's all in that whole Metro Manila area.
Wow. Love it. So the first 12 years you're in the Philippines.
Yeah, I was in the Philippines.
And you learned English at that time, Korean at that time, or
I went to an English-speaking school, so there was a missionary kids school. My parents are missionaries, so I went to a missionary kids school in the Philippines called Faith Academy.
Okay.
And so that's where I spoke.
Because I know Eric did, last time you were in the Philippines, you did something at a Korean school there in Manila.
Right.
Like you did a basketball clinic.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
It's interesting that your parents didn't put you in the Korean
school.
school.
So what was funny is, in our school, Faith Academy, we were like the first Korean family there.
Ah.
And now, if you look at I think there's over half the people in the school are Korean missionary kids.
Really?
So there's just, because Philippines, there's a lot more Koreans living all over. We were one of the first because we were, I would reveal my age. No, but we were
23, right?
23. No, we went there in 79.
Okay.
We went to the Philippines.
Wow.
1979.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
No, it's crazy because I mean, like just thinking about like where you grew up. You're born here, you moved to the Philippines, and then you moved to LA, right?
Yeah.
No, in the interim, no time in Korea between Philippines and LA.
Yeah, only visiting. Like every 3 or 4 years during the summer. I have 2 older brothers, so the 3 of us and my mom would come out to Korea. We'd spend 1 month in school. My mom would there's some funny stories. My mom would just have to wait, because back then there was no whole thing of 청강생, like an audit student, just for a month. So she would have to beg the schools, just wait outside the principal's room.
Wow.
Wait outside the principal's room, just wait there. It's this crazy lady doing.
And is that Seoul at that time?
Yeah. It was in different parts because we'd stay with our relatives. So.
My gosh. And no 어린이집 at that time too.
Yeah. This was the 80s. So yeah.
It was wild back then.
Back Wild West. Yeah, Korea was definitely different back then.
But so, wait a second. So at that time, you're going to an English school, but your Korean's super good. So I'm assuming that at home you're speaking Korean.
Did you go to Korean school?
So I grew up, never went to Korean school. Our parents taught us. Growing up.
Like it's all different with different households. Was it more of a formal teaching you, or was it just talking and you? It
wasn't teaching. The only formal quote teaching that I remember was some summers we'd learn Hanmun.
Wow.
No, because interestingly enough, most kyopos I mean, I don't want to paint the whole
paint it stereotypes.
All you motherfuckers.
Hey, you have a friend who labels me as a typical kyopo.
Which friend?
He will not be named.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but your Korean is fucking amazing. Your Korean is really good, amazing. No, bro,
really
the things that you do and all.
Too modest too.
But it's
one of our most modest friends.
No, but seriously, your Korean is amazing, and most kyopos have they can speak at whatever level, depending on where they grew up, how much they use the language and whatnot. But your Korean's really good. You act, you do everything out here. It's amazing how
I'm not able to act in Korean.
I've seen you act in Korean.
We
saw improv.
Oh yeah. But that's just
that's harder than regular acting.
That's harder. You don't have a script.
If you have a script, you can memorize it. Even guys that can't speak Korean can memorize.
Actually,
sounds.
I would say it's harder to look at a script and do it. I would say scripted is harder in Korean, or at least for me.
I think most people would not agree with you.
I think to me it's amazing because I learned Korean as an adult. Eric did too. So
I think that's amazing.
It's
man.
super okay.
No, you're amazing.
John, no, you're beautiful. No, this motherfucker.
No, but I'm being for real.
No, John, first of all, okay, whatever. You're one of the most modest guys that I know. But another thing is out here, Danny, I've seen his stand up in both in both English and Korean.
Yeah.
And I just think it's crazy that he can do stand-up in Korean.
I think that's amazing too.
And that's basically improv, motherfucker.
Hold on. Everything can't be amazing.
Actually, no, but
it is.
But I feel like stand-up is not improv because that's super scripted because you have to keep testing your material.
But you ad-lib a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
By the audience.
All the stuff with the audience interaction.
That's where the improv. I think it's kind of like a fusion.
Yeah.
Not just from the outside looking in, not ever having actually performed. But I feel like there's a little bit of improv elements going into everyone's stand-up routine. And that's what makes it cool as to be in the audience when they're just kind of riffing.
The improv, the what do you call it, comedians that I give more credit to are the ones that can they're just funny on the spot, right? Someone just says something and they react.
All right, so hold on.
So funny.
So hold on. Is Danny funny?
I think he's funny.
I think Danny's hilarious.
I think he's funny.
Okay.
And I think he kind of pushes the envelope. So that's what I like.
Well, I think it is funny what he gets away with in Korea because he does take a very American style.
He does.
So he's funny in his English stand-up.
Because he shiba's around. But if a Korean were to say all that shiba, then it wouldn't
Korean
be cool.
Korean shiba.
Yeah.
You have to be. Do you think that's like Kyopo privilege?
No, but then
does he get away with shit because okay, he doesn't know our customs, but he does. Motherfucker is like taking liberties.
Kyopo privilege. Yeah, because.
Is Kyopo privilege a thing?
I think it is.
Is it?
I think it is.
It fucking definitely is.
Well, let's talk about that, dude. There's.
You sitting over there on your high horse, John.
First of all, John. First, you have the floor. Do you think it's a thing?
Kyopo privilege?
Uh-huh.
Yes, there is some, but there's also a negative side to that.
Double-edged sword.
It definitely is a double-edged sword, and there's a lot that people hate us for.
Okay, so let me give you an example. I've heard stories about Kyopos coming to work for, not at Hot Ones, but a Korean corporations. And a lot of times, they don't have to work late because they're Kyopos, and so a lot of the Korean coworkers kind of get angered. They're like, oh, you're letting Amy go home. Amy gets to go home early, and we have to go drink with the boss and all that. And I think a lot of people look at that as like, oh, privilege because she came from America. And sometimes the pay is a little different because if they're going to where they're working with the boss and working late and making the same as Amy, then, sorry, Amy, this is just a made up name, but if there's an Amy out there, she's talking about me.
No, man, she works fine. Why are you throwing Amy under the bus?
So we'll talk about that situation. Do you think that's valid, or what do you think about that?
Well, okay, going back, I think a lot of times Kyopos come and they think they know everything. Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest thing for Kyopos to do, either the best thing, is to understand and try to, don't think just because you watch Korean dramas and growing up and mom and dad spoke Korean to you that you know Korean like culture, because you don't.
You have no idea.
You have no fucking idea.
Okay.
And for those people that don't know what a Kyopo is a Korean that was born.
ABK. American born.
No, it doesn't necessarily have to be American. You could be from Japan, Russia, wherever. Like a Korean that's was basically raised outside of Korea. Okay,
so I think the first thing is to just kind of learn about the culture and customs, and don't try to just stick out too much, and just basically learn and be respectful, and then kind of slowly kind of expand your boundaries.
So then it kind of brings us to another thing. It's like, okay, if a Kyopo needs to come over here and understand that kind of stuff and kind of like keep his head down and kind of see how things are here.
Yeah.
Like, how have you made it this long? Because you've been here for what, fucking 30 years?
You've outlasted the average Kyopo.
Who said I made it? I'm just here. I'm just surviving.
No, because most Kyopos come and they'll be here for a couple of years. They like it. They have their experience. They go home, right? Because every Kyopo, like that, or anyone that has any kind of Korean blood that was like us, we're half, But for other, like our cousins and whatnot, there's a lot of curiosity. Like, what makes my parents? I'm eventually going to come to the motherland and like see. So they come, and a lot of them see, and they're like, okay, that was nice, and they go home. But you've stayed.
Perhaps my girlfriend.
Do you really think you would have gone back if you wouldn't have met your girlfriend?
I believe so. Because there's been times that I was lonely. Because there's that one. I think for me.
Let's talk about that, John.
Let's talk about
We're
that.
here for you.
Do I need to lie on this couch?
John.
No. But there's that 1 or 2 year that mark where you're super lonely. Bobby, did you have that? Yeah. The 2 year mark, or that 1 or 2 year mark where
get Bobby a mic, mic him up.
Shout out to Bobby, man.
Hey, what?
No, but seriously, like I think that's like a true thing. It's like when you're overseas for a while and you come in and all these expectations that you have. You come here and then you're like, man, I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be awesome. Like I feel Korean, and then you come here and you're like, wow, there's a lot I didn't know. And then you try to stick it out. You're like, okay, maybe there's something to learn. I want to learn more about myself, my parents, like my culture, all this kind of stuff. And then you get to that point where you're like, am I going to stay or am I just going to be like, fucking go home?
Yeah. But I think that's, even if you're, I would say there's a part of that. Let's say you were born and raised in California and you go to New York. I'm sure you'll have some of that.
For sure.
So I don't think it's just an international thing. I think it's
it's a difference.
I know.
LA,
there's different levels to it. I know.
Here's what I'm saying about that is that like, it's a lot closer, to move back, and you don't really. We're an ocean away, so it's like even to visit, it's a big hassle, especially now. So it's like when you make that choice, you're pretty much cut off from LA or New York or wherever you're from.
You know what's made it so much better? Technology.
Zoom,
or even Skype, or
I would say that the thing that makes it difficult is the expectations that you have as having Korean blood. Because from my opinion, like seeing Kyopos, like. Everyone that comes here from a different culture has like a certain level of adjustment that they need to figure out, right? Yeah. But I think Kyopos have it the hardest. I think that like Korean people are the hardest on Kyopos because they look at you and they think any mistake that you make is like magnified like tenfold. Like if we make a mistake, they're like, oh, this big white guy, of course he doesn't know our culture. But then they look at you, and if you make one mistake, they're like
Kyopos in disguise.
Right.
But that's interesting. I never really thought about that.
Because like a lot of my Kyopo friends, like they'll come here and they'll be like, man, I'll never go to Korea again. They're like, it's just too hard. Like the expectation they have of me. The expectation they have of me as a Korean-looking person with 100% Korean blood. If I make one mistake, if my padam isn't like 100%, if I miss one thing, they crucify me. They absolutely barbecue me.
I think it definitely helped. That I don't give a fuck what people think.
Me and Eric can insa and get a standing ovation. We'll be like, 안녕하세요. Wow.
Like it's crazy. Like we go to any restaurant still, right? I've been here for 14 years. Go to a restaurant, eat kimchi, it's like, whoa.
No, just pull out your passport. I'm a Korean.
Doesn't matter, bro. It does not matter. We've actually done that.
If we wanted like a whole bunch of laughs and jokes, then we pulled the passport, like, I'm Korean too. They'd be like, that's amazing. This guy's
hilarious.
The
funniest thing when I think about you guys is you've actually both represented the country.
Yeah.
You guys have been 국가대표, and it's still like, 쟤 외국인. 한국말 하네. Oh my God, dude. It's like, what the hell, man? I represented you guys in
but I think
in
like
battle.
I think it's like an interesting thing because like for us, like we can live out here and people will not expect ever like never gonna look at us and be like, oh, these guys are Korean. Like we're never gonna get that ever. But they expect all these things from you, and then whatever that individual has as expectations as well.
Man, that sucks. That sucks, right? That they'll always look at you as like a foreigner.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like
let's talk about that.
The funny thing is, my wife's Kyopo. Yeah. So she doesn't have a Korean passport. Yeah, she's from Hawaii.
But she's the Korean and you're the foreigner.
When we'll go to like her Korean's really good, but obviously I've lived here for 15 years. I do taxes and all that kind of stuff. Yes, please. So when we go to places, like we were getting a cell phone the other day, and they're talking about yakjum and all this kind of stuff that she doesn't know, right? She doesn't know, and they're. I'm speaking, but they won't look at me. They won't look at me, and they'll just keep looking at her, address her, and ask her questions, and she'd be looking at me like, "What does that mean?" I'll tell you what it means, and I'm like.
No, there's times, there's these experiences we've had where we've been with a Kyopo who couldn't speak Korean at all, right? Could basically not even say 안녕하세요 correctly, and like we'll be out there talking to someone, right? And then the person that we're talking to will be looking at the Korean. Right, the Kyopo, who doesn't speak Korean at all, and then we'll be answering, but they'll be talking to him.
Yeah. I mean, that's
just yeah.
So actually, man, this is like one of those things that can take over a whole podcast. This subject, it's crazy. But so when I first got here, and I had never really like dealt with like kind of like identity and stuff, even though we grew up in an all-white neighborhood. I just figured that we were just more white. We speak white. We had never really learned Korean.
It's really interesting.
So even though people would come over and it was kind of like an asterisk on our life.
No, because you guys have that quote choice. You guys kind of do.
Yeah. we always check the box. Asian Pacific Islander.
No,
that's when you want. That's when you want to go to college.
With his SAT scores, no.
I barely got it. Oh,
so he's like, okay, is affirmative action going to work for me? But yeah,
it didn't.
Like it was just kind of like something that made us cool to our, but just being white, and growing up in a white neighborhood, it was kind of something that made us a little bit cooler because we have like a little bit of Bruce Lee or whatever, But I noticed, so like one of my best friends when I got here was a poker player, online poker player back when that was big.
Nice.
and he was writing his dissertation at Seouldae. Wicked smart kid, right? And it was all about this whole Asian American thing. And then when I read it, it was just stuff that I had never thought about. Like he was saying that like just growing up in America in an all white community, his experience was very different than mine. Mm-hmm. And so I think then going to Korea, and he couldn't speak Korean. Right. So I think he was noticing, you kind of brought it up, a lot of Kyopos try to like, you know, be loud and not fit in to kind of like show that they're, hey, I'm American, so don't like get mad when I don't say things right or something like that. Or
they do it because I don't know, maybe they feel inferior in whatever. Everyone has their insecurities, so they try to cover it up.
His paper was like, and it is. It's a lot of the insecurity of being a Kyopo coming here and have all these expectations. Like, you should speak Korean. You should. And so you speak Korean, so you're kind of cool. But his experience was he's a smart kid, went to one of the top math colleges.
Not smart. He's like a
genius, right?
Like he could work for NASA was looking at him to put him in like a think lab to like he was but, like.
Is he like a Keist kind of?
But to come to Korea and be called a pabo every day because he can't speak Korean perfectly.
That's a funny part.
He kind of like started dressing more like American. Like at the time, like baggy clothes was in. Yeah. Koreans weren't really rocking that, and he was like more like.
He started being more Hongdae.
He's trying to be more. He said that, you know, and a lot of it in his paper was like, yeah, you try to like show them that like don't. Get rid of your expectations on.
Because like, look at this. Like, it's like this. Like, Asian kids growing up in America, like, where do they fit? Right? Most of them, like, we grew up in a white neighborhood, black neighborhood. Wherever we grow up, we don't fit in that neighborhood because there's no Asian communities. Like, we grew up in Chinatown. Like, that's not where most of us grew up, right? So we have this neighborhood we grew up, like a white neighborhood, black neighborhood, right? And we're like, man, I don't fit in here, right? I'll go to like my parents' country. I'll definitely fit in there. You don't fit in here. So then, like, you have this identity crisis where it's like, if I can finally go to this country where everyone looks like me, I'll finally fit in. They'll accept me. But they don't.
So John, Eric's hijacking my question right now. John.
Well, it's taking you forever to get the question.
Yeah, no. I got to the point, and Eric picked it up. But actually, it was for John.
I was falling asleep over here.
So John, did you ever experience any of that, like with the identity or with any of that?
Of course.
Because you're a little different because you speak Korean.
Well, see. The reason why you say it's because I'm being modest, but I really don't feel like I'm being modest. I feel like my Korean's so lacking.
It's so perfect.
No, stop. But it's because when I first came to Korea, my Korean, I mean, it was all right, but it wasn't that good. Like, but the thing is, the first several years, I hung out with 0 Korean Americans. I hung out with only Koreans.
On purpose or?
It just happened that way. Like my circle just of
형들이 술을 사주니까.
So the friends that I was hanging out with, the friends I knew from America, their friends were all just completely Korean and stuff. So I just hung out. I only spoke Korean, just pure 100%.
So you got a lot better.
Not because so much so that when I go back to LA or when I go back to America, I was like, fuck, what's wrong with my English?
Oh, that happens to me.
Do you know what I mean? It just feels like, and I always would say, it feels like you're Usain Bolt. With the sprained ankle. So like my English was, let's say, you know, like I'm fine. I can speak whatever my thoughts are.
World-class sprinter?
No. Oh. So I can speak fine. I can communicate my thoughts clearly, whatever, right? But you have a sprained ankle, so you're like a split second slower in your thoughts in English. Even right now, because I'm just so used to speaking Korean, whatever, all day to my girlfriend, to whatever.
What's your ratio in a day? Like how much English, how much Korean?
At first, 0.
No,
100%.
right now today.
A lot more English now. Like maybe 50-50.
Is that because of like work or just because of the people you hang out with? Or?
Actually, no, maybe 60-40. And my friends, the people I communicate with more now, speak English. Like I talk to my friends in America a lot more. The people I
So you still have friends back home?
Oh yeah, I hang out with them.
I've lived here so long.
Yeah.
That we were talking about this a while ago. I have friends back home, like my best friend from childhood.
But you don't keep in contact.
From going from this, now we're down to like a select elite crew.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
2 people.
Absolutely. But that's what I like now. Like when so it was funny when I first got into college, like I would say hi to everyone, like my friends would be like, damn, you're like a social butterfly, right? But that wasn't really me. What I really am is I'm more, you know that whole saying, what was it? An inch wide and a mile deep versus a mile wide and an inch deep. I don't know. If there's a book, I didn't even know.
It's a porno, but
great. Inch wide.
Send it to me.
So I'd be a mile wide and an inch deep. But I'm a complete believer in just like I don't really have a big circle now, but I believe in just being really
deeper relationships.
Deep is good in many different ways.
So speaking of deep relationships, all right, John, I got a couple questions that I'm gonna.
Oh, are we at the event now?
We're at the event, all right?
Okay.
So John,
well, I know
this will. I mean, these are hopefully blow your mind. All right, we put a lot of time into these questions. Okay.
I want to be blown.
Okay, stop.
John, cut.
We're hold on. Pornos. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna dive into a couple questions, right? I'm gonna give you 3 people and 3 options, and you gotta.
Awesome.
All right, so first we're gonna start with sports.
All right. Okay? Great.
And I'm gonna give you 3 people's names, and one of the people you gotta start, you gotta bench one and trade one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ready? LeBron James.
Kobe and MJ.
Luka Doncic.
Okay.
Today's NBA.
And the Greek Freak.
You're a Lakers fan, right?
Start one, bench one, trade one.
Is the game tomorrow or is this game like
game
a couple years?
Tomorrow.
Just one game. LeBron. Start LeBron.
That's pretty.
Bench Luka.
Wow.
And trade Giannis. 100%. If Giannis, the reason why I'm not too high on Giannis is if they can game plan and stop you, you're not a superstar.
But they really haven't been able to do that consistently because if you look at the regular season,
last 2 playoffs, Giannis was stopped.
No, I agree. When you're getting up the very top level, in the playoffs, there's certain defenses that have been able to set up walls and stuff.
Yeah.
But in the regular season, no one's really been consistent.
Maybe that's because the regular season they don't play defense.
It's the regular season. Like LeBron doesn't really play in the regular season. Yeah. But 100% LeBron right now.
Question 2. Interesting that you would bench Luka.
You would go Luka over.
Anyways, well, for another podcast.
If I have Anthony Davis, I might. I don't know.
Anthony Davis is stroke, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Question 2. Start one, bench one, trade one. Jordan, Bird, Magic.
Start Jordan.
Obviously, I think it's harder with these last 2.
Yeah.
It's a big difference to bench and then trade.
Okay, then let me ask you this: Is this
you can't ask
modern day NBA game, or is this a back?
It's the same. The question format is the same. We game tomorrow.
Game tomorrow. Whose game would be Bird? I'd bench Bird and trade Magic.
You're benching Bird and trade Magic.
Actually, no.
When you're from LA,
I disagree with that.
But you're an LA guy.
No.
The 3-point shot is so much more valuable.
That's why. I just quickly thought about the 3, but
Too
then,
late.
But then the game playing
your LA passport just got revoked.
Maybe.
Last question on the sports end: bench one, start one, trade one. Brett Favre, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning's a regular season kind of guy, right? So
he won 2 Super Bowls.
I know, I'm kidding. that second Super Bowl, I don't like.
Peyton, if you're listening,
that second Super Bowl for Peyton.
John's putting an asterisk on your.
That was all Von Miller, man.
For our listeners in Denver and Indianapolis.
Ooh.
No, but that Indy Super Bowl, that was all him. But okay,
so start, trade, bench.
Trade Brett Favre. Yeah, I don't need Brett Favre.
Wow.
Apologize.
Wow.
Apologize
to our Wisconsin, Green Bay.
Sorry. Dave McGinnis people.
sorry.
Dave, you're going to hear about this.
Dave's killing you.
Yeah, because too many picks.
Wow, so you're... Okay.
And then,
it's tough.
Wow. The ageless wonder, Tom Brady?
Start Manning, bench Tom Brady.
Benching Tom Brady.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Tom Brady hasn't sat on a bench for like 40 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like literally 40 years.
So when he was 3 years old, he's
he's actually he lied about that. He's
born
about 60 years old right now.
All right, second round of questions, okay? The first one was start, bench, trade. This one is you got to fuck one, marry one, and kill one.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? Oprah, Ellen, and Hillary Clinton.
Oh.
Kill Hillary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's okay.
Okay.
She is kind of like she's like the evil emperor in a women form from Star Wars.
Okay. Fuck Ellen because I want to try to turn her straight.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Wow. I thought Oprah was a shoo-in for the.
Yeah.
And then
you
marry Oprah because she's a billionaire.
So 돈만 버는 거야. 돈 밝힌 거야.
I've been in Korea for too long.
된장남.
Learning a lot about John.
된장남.
All right, so okay. Second one. We're going from our generation now. We were gonna go for like recent, hotties from this generation, but we're all over 40, so fuck it. We're gonna go back in time.
Let's do it.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry, okay.
Salma Hayek.
Halle, if you're listening.
E. Hyori.
Ooh, give him some pause. He's doing like his calculations now.
Woo!
The first one, he was just like, oh, yeah.
Easily.
I have some friends that would
Did
say...
he already give you pause? That one threw you off?
I have some friends that would say, well, I've actually...
Oh, okay.
That's all I'll say.
Actually had sex with Halle Berry?
Oh, yeah, with Halle
Okay.
Salma Hayek.
Interesting.
Selma Hayek, Dust Till Dawn. Just gonna throw that out there.
Right.
Or
Fuck Salma Hayek.
Ooh.
I can't.
Marry... Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Actually... Kill.
Kill
Halle Berry and marry Iori.
You gotta live in Korea.
I live in Korea.
Okay.
You don't want to do the long distance.
Yeah.
All right, last one. We're going to the modern day. Kim Kardashian.
Okay.
Rihanna. Scarlett Johansson.
Now we had a kind of discussion. I wanted him to put in a.
Did you guys see that video? Did you guys see the Kim Kardashian video
with Ray J?
With Ray J.
Yeah.
Fuck Rihanna.
You think Rihanna's the freakiest one out of all those three?
Perhaps, yeah. I think she has some.
Guess you'll find out.
Wait, who's Rihanna dating right now?
I don't know.
Not Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kill Kim Kardashian.
Ooh.
And
the world will thank you, maybe.
And you marrying Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson. Okay. Solid. All solid picks.
Solid picks.
All
Definitely
solid
picks. Solid picks, man.
Scarlett Johansson was so hot, and what's that one movie? The tennis match point or something? It's a tennis kind of. It's a.
Was she not?
It's a Woody Allen.
Was she
movie.
not hot?
But no,
in
but
any
she
movie?
was just extra hot there.
I will say this though, Scarlett Johansson, she's definitely lost a little bit of her step. She's lost her breakaway speed.
No, I think
when she
her first step is slower.
Yeah, when she first bust on the scene, I was like, wow.
God, yeah.
And now she's looking a little Ajimai, a little bit.
I have a friend who was in a movie with her, and they made out in the backseat and like in the film.
Like on the film.
If you see the movie Perfect Score, it's a cut scene, but this guy Leonardo Nam, he had I guess he got to make out with.
But this is a Korean guy. His first name was Leonardo.
Yeah. He's from I think Argentina.
It gotta be.
Or Australia and Argentina. Yeah. So Leo got to mac with her and
Wow.
in the backseat. He said he licked her armpit or something. I don't know.
Attaboy.
Why would you even do that? Like,
if you got
in real life,
if you got Scarlett Johansson in the backseat, I'm doing all kinds of.
Why not?
Like, why not? Lick her armpit.
And you know what? You know what he probably did that for? Probably no one's ever licked her armpit before, and so then she will always remember. At parties and stuff, she'd be like, "There was this one guy licked my armpit. What a weird, what I mean?"
Or it might
he's
be
been watching too much Japanese porn.
Nah, man, it might be one of those things that's like, look, Argentinian girls like that.
Could be.
Maybe.
The go-to move in Buenos Aires.
John, if a girl licked your armpit, what would you do? Would you like that?
Yeah, I'd say, get the fuck off.
I would be more embarrassed about my armpit.
So how about this then? What's the most unexpected, weirdest thing that a girl's done to you? Like, have you been like, wow, that was weird? Like, did she lick your armpit or?
And you can say it because no one's watching.
Yeah, no one's watching. No one's watching.
No one's watching, except for that guy right there.
You know what's funny, and this isn't me being modest or whatever.
This is definitely being modest.
A little bit, but I haven't done any actually I'll take that back. But what's the weirdest thing someone's done to me? No one's stuck a finger in my ass though. I don't think no one's done anything super weird where
no one's licked your armpit where you're like
devious.
Just
nothing
a whole bunch of normal sex, huh?
Nothing crazy. Well, I mean, within the realm of normal.
Eric, I'm gonna let you now. You say yours, and I'll say mine.
What's the weirdest thing that someone's done to me?
like getting your butt licked or whatever. That's.
I mean, that's the standard.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Standard.
I have a checklist.
I'm not sure. I wasn't really prepared to answer the question. I'm gonna have to think. Weird.
He's thinking about a whole bunch of weird stuff, and he's wondering what he can actually say. He's like trying to narrow it down. It's not that he doesn't have anything.
The weirdest.
He's trying to narrow it down to something. Don't sugarcoat it.
I'm not sure.
Don't sugarcoat it. This is raw.
Let me think.
I already know mine.
You answer it.
Girl sucker punched me. I'm in like Vietnam, and we meet some nice ladies, and you know, whatever, and then just mid stride just reaches back. I'm like, oh, she's probably like gonna undo her hairpin or whatever, and just cranks back and just sucks me in the face.
What the fuck?
And it was just like weird. It was the weirdest thing.
Did it hurt?
It fucking hurt. It wasn't like a like a love pat. It was.
Okay, wait. So what did you do in response?
I started choking shit out of her.
Maybe that's what she wanted.
I think that's what she wanted. Yeah. So I think she got this response she wanted to elicit, but
because there are girls that want you to choke them.
It's weird shit. You never know what's gonna happen.
There's some MMA girls. They want to get triangle chokes, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Come on.
I'm gonna have to think. There's been so many weird things that have been going on, man. I'm like,
what, recently? Recently?
Oh, back in the day, probably when I was in Germany.
Germany. Oh, Germany.
I think when I was in Germany, like there was
lots of Fräulein.
Yeah, there was some weird shit. I remember like I met this chick at the club and she didn't want me to fuck her. Like straight, she was like, "Nah, I want you to fuck me in the ass."
Oh, okay.
And I was like,
okay.
Maybe she was a virgin and she didn't want to lose her virginity.
You know.
And I was like,
true gentleman.
Yeah. I was like, well, the lady gets what the lady wants. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably like
suddenly went to the locker room.
Yeah, it did.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna edit all this out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like yeah. I don't know. Looking back, there's a lot of weird shit that happened, man.
There was a lot of weird. When I look back on my 20s and even like up to like mid 30s, up until like 3 years ago, there was like a lot of strange stuff happening, man. But
I'm glad I got all that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me,
John, do you feel like you got it all out?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Well, I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got to sow your wild oats.
I don't think you can ever get it, quote, out, but you can get that urge where you can't control yourself out. You know, like there's that one point, because until you pass that point, even if you know in your mind that you shouldn't be doing this, fuck, there's no chance. You're going to fucking do it anyway, right? So once you pass that, even though you still want whatever it is, you can kind of, you know what? I have a kid. I don't have a kid, but you know, I have this and that. And it's like, I don't need to do that. But before that, if you don't pass that, even if you have a kid, even if you have a wife, even whatever, if your parents are next door or whatever it is, you're like, fuck this, I'm doing what I want.
I think it's like a unique challenge because like I got married late, right?
We both did.
And
shit, I ain't even married yet.
No, but I mean, you have a serious girlfriend. But I think like it's a unique challenge too. There's like pros and cons for everything. But then there's people that get married right out of high school. And I think they're going to struggle more with like, they didn't sow their wild oats, you know?
Well, they may or they may not. It's like, I mean, some people are ready for that at an earlier age, you know? And I think like a lot of guys, like they go through that midlife crisis like later on with like, oh, you know, I didn't do what I should have done.
I never banged a German girl in the butt.
You know? A lot of guys.
Wiedersehen.
Wiedersehen, bitches.
No, it's like, I think like, I mean, we were lucky because, you know, we got a lot of that shit out or, you know, when we were younger. Yeah. So we don't have to like look for them like, God, I wonder what it was like to get socked in the fucking face.
Yeah.
You know?
It's always, you know, the grass is greener on the other side.
I think
all my friends.
Personally, I had so much of this energy and this exploratory energy when I was a kid, curiosity and all that kind of stuff.
Christopher Columbus.
Exploring new worlds. I'm telling you right now, like we were talking about this on our travel episode. I don't really have this urge to travel. I've traveled a lot and I know I don't want to be in lines at the airport. So like I'm very more comfortable. Like I don't really feel the desire to like explore new worlds as much, you know.
Right. You must have explored a lot of worlds when you went on that trip to Brazil, dude.
Easy.
No, I'm telling you, he was.
But you know, like at that time when I'm getting socked in the face, I'm like, this is exciting. Now if somebody socked me in the face, I gotta go. I'm tired.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? I just don't have.
I'm too old for this shit, or I'm too whatever.
Yeah.
For this shit.
When you're younger and like obviously we're like all around the same age, so it's like you get to a certain point where you're like, what do you have actually time for?
Yeah.
But like when you're young, you're like, man, whatever comes, man, I want this adventure. Like I'm gonna have this fucking story. Like I'm gonna do this, do that. But then now you're like, no, I just want to be.
That's why your circle of friends shrinks.
I was just about to bring it back to that.
Because you don't have time for.
I don't want to meet any new people either.
Well, I don't mind, but you better fucking be really compelling, or you better have like
to displace one of my to displace one of the friends that I hang out with regularly.
Because you have to trade one of your friends.
You gotta fuck them or marry them. You know what I mean?
It was start and bench.
Yeah. My bad.
Wait a second.
Maybe in your world, man, I'm fucking marrying and cutting my friends.
Oh no.
Nah, man. So like we were talking about all this stuff. Like,
look what time it is.
I know.
Now we're not even getting to our shit. I gotta go into my shit now.
All right.
So we had a topic. We went into a wormhole. But now,
was it the beer or was it?
It could have been the beer. No, it was the fuck trade thing. Okay, so now, John.
Yeah.
Fuck on trade what?
Usually around the 45 minute mark.
That's really cool.
We do like a little. Eric had his and just went into mine. That's crazy. Normally we do the first event, like which was the sports and the fucking thing, and then we have a whole nother topic, and we go in. I'm giving away our secret recipe, our sauce to other formats.
Dude.
But it's never gone to where it flowed into the next event. Usually we have a topic in between.
We can make this shit flow for like 2 hours.
I know. We gotta stop. We gotta stop.
So Dan found this new test, right? James Lipton, the famous
actor studio.
The questions that he asked at the end.
Yeah, right. He does this question.
What would God say to you at the pearly gates?
Wow. So you're familiar with this?
I love the actor studio. I mean, because I'm an actor too. So
the only reason I know about that is because of Will Ferrell on Saturday Night Live when he would make fun of the guy.
He actually imitates him really well. James
really
Lipton.
Well.
He passed away several years ago, right? I think James.
Don't even
Lipton,
say right because
James Lipton
we're just floating out here.
I think he died.
So okay, I'm going to tell you something maybe you didn't know about this. Do you know where the questionnaire comes from?
I remember at one point.
That too.
I don't. But I remember at one point having read about that, but I don't remember the details.
So a long time ago, like 200 years ago, rich people would sit around in a parlor and drink and hang out. So they had parlor games, right? And this was one of the parlor games. And a famous, Eric was telling me about this. This guy, Marc Pros, is a French famous writer?
He's a writer poet. He's I went to his house when I was studying in France. He's like the god of French writing because the way he wrote and put stuff together, it was just, if you love the French language,
that's right. You speak French too. That's freaking awesome.
His poetry and writing is just.
If Eric could be anywhere in the world, he'd have beret on. I remember we're in Australia one time. Eric's wearing this, the vertical stripes, the Where's Waldo stripes. Yeah. He's wearing a T-shirt like that in Australia. And,
horizontal
stripes. And he's got the short shorts back before it was fashionable. And some old French lady comes up to him on the street and he goes, "Vous êtes français?" And then Eric looked at that like it was the greatest compliment. In America, that would be like, "Are you fucking me? What you think?" You know what I mean? Eric was like, he's like,
it was my proudest moment. It was my proudest moment of studying French. It was like everything my teachers told me and taught me all those years finally paid off.
Eric's degree is in French. I didn't know that. He has a teaching certificate. He's licensed to teach French.
That's awesome.
All those years of hard work finally paid off in the streets.
Saying
wow. That's pretty good.
And foutoir. Foutoir, right? That's
those are not good words to say.
I know, foutoir.
So anyways, so this guy, anyways, Marc Pros, they found a record because he was friends with one of the first French presidents, and then when they're going through his memoirs, they found this whole questionnaire that he filled out, one of their parlor games, right? And then later on, the French version of James Lipton, Bernard Pivot, used to use that on his
Pivot. So whenever James Lipton said, before he asked those questions, he brings up the name of Pivot or whatever, Bernard Pivot.
Okay. Well, so I didn't know that because I never watched the show.
Yeah.
But James Lipton kind of made a couple adjustments. So we're gonna do the James Lipton one because we're all more American than we are French, except for that guy over there. Are you drinking? He's drinking Burgundy. We're drinking beer.
Oh, you're not?
He's drinking red wine.
It's actually a cognac.
Cognac?
Cognac.
Okay. Right. So, John, first one. What is your favorite word?
Word?
Mm-hmm. I thought you knew
Besides
the question
fuck? There. No, but I didn't even think of this. So,
it could be English or Korean too.
Yeah.
Any language is fine.
Tagalog, but we're not going to understand it.
Actually, let me think about that. Ask me another one.
Okay.
I want to give a thoughtful answer.
Okay.
Why?
So the second question.
Thank you.
Better than saying fuck. My favorite word is fuck, man.
So the second question is, what is your least favorite word? Are we going to just pass?
No.
We're just going to pass on every question? Something having to forming.
Yeah. It's. I don't want to say hate.
Okay.
But it's word. It's actually. Can't. I can't.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I don't like. I can't. Yeah. Although I say it a lot, but I have to catch myself in my.
Is that because you believe that anything is possible, like the Adidas commercial?
Well, I don't think everything is possible. I mean, but. I think if you think you can't, then whatever possibility you had just
it's just a negative mindset, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Just whatever. Just going deep into like yourself and finding whatever it is inside of you that you really, really, really like.
Passion.
Your passion, whatever, follow your heart. People say it like it's so cliche, but if you really find that, I think that really turns.
So, would you describe yourself as a pretty introspective kind of guy?
I try to be.
With the self-help and all that kind of stuff, or just kind of your own personal journey and.
Yeah. I think
not necessarily like reading.
Journey. Yeah, no. And I have read a lot of those self-help books, but it's I do think I am. I try to be.
Okay.
As much as I can. Yeah.
Okay. What turns you off?
Jose.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Like just these people that are faking it, faking the funk.
But I think what we were talking about a while ago, it all comes down to
가위 잡는 거.
Yeah. It all comes down to your own insecurities. So which then it's just you have a lot of work to do, And
so for the people that don't know what Jose means, it's like kind of the people that act the part that they haven't quite lived
it's like trying to be more than you really are, kind of. Right. And that's like I don't know. I'm not.
Do you find that in Korea? Because Korea is very like 자기업 oriented.
Yeah.
So like you find like everyone's getting all these degrees and like these certificates and achievement. It doesn't really mean they can do the thing they got the thing for. Yeah. It means they paid the money and they've completed 6 weeks of the program.
Or they just studied like crazy, even if they don't know what.
Yeah, but they love
whatever they're studying.
They love titles out here.
They do
like titles, and
that's why you're 학벌 and your spec, right? Your
spec.
Yeah.
So I think one of the most interesting things was I had a 선배 playing basketball, and his wife was like a 박사. Yeah. She was a PhD. Yeah. And I was like, oh, so what does she do? He's like, oh, she's got like a PhD in psychology. I was like, oh, so she's a psychologist. He's like, no. She never really wanted it. She just basically did it to marry well, right? I think that's like so sad. Like that the specs and all that kind of stuff is so big that you're doing something not for the reason it was designed. You're just trying to impress and to.
So this will kind of go into a different rabbit hole, but cool. I think when I first came to Korea, I would criticize the hell out of that. I'd be like, oh my God, why are Koreans so what are materialistic, blah, blah, blah. I would say all these things. But then later on, you kind of understand like the history of Korea a little bit more and why kind of people have no choice to be like that. It's just like such a small country. It's just everything is so cutthroat. Yeah. And I started understanding that a little more. It doesn't mean like I agree with it, but I mean, I understand it a little more. It's like, okay, well, I see why you have no reason to be like that, but
at the same time, that's what turns you off the most.
It turns me off, but I'm not going to say,
you understand
fuck you, you don't know shit. I'm just going to be like, okay, I'm just not, but me, it's just, especially the older I get, I don't give a fuck what people think.
No, that makes sense. Like, I think your favorite word is fuck.
Yeah. You have said fuck more than any of our other guests.
That's why.
Is that your favorite word?
It is one of my favorite words.
Well, when you're speaking Korean, is it shiba?
I try not to shiba.
Okay. Yeah. That's good. You should, it's worse to say shibari a lot than it is to say fuck a lot.
It's funny though, because like if you say fuck, like you can integrate that into your language and it's okay. But if you put shibari into Korean language, it all of a sudden it's like
there's no kabyo in shibari.
But in that same way, you know, like I started trying to not curse as much in Korean, which is kind of tough because I curse a lot. But when I hear a Korean person who can't speak English that well, and they're saying shit, fuck, I'm like, dude, learn the fucking language first before you.
And
learn the language first before you whatever. So and then I think, oh my god, that's how I learn. That's me.
I've been guilty of that.
I gotta stop shibaring and.
Not because you think about it in every other language when you start to learn, you learn the curse words first.
Yeah. Curse words and I love you.
Like think about this. Like how many languages can you curse in? You can say fucking like probably like
man,
30 languages.
Like putwa.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love you.
Next question. I love you too.
Okay, so that kills our next one. It says, "What is your favorite curse word?" So that's fuck or.
But I like motherfucker
as a curse word. So that's the thing. Like in if there was like an odin, like a someone that deserves respect, you wouldn't really say shibari in front of them. But you might drop a fuck. Like you'd be like, yeah, man, this fucking guy, or like just a kabyo, you know, like a very light.
There's no way to do that in Korea.
Yeah, there's no way to really do that. Yeah. But in America, I don't think I would say motherfucker in front of somebody like the boss or whatever. You know, a lot of times when you have a manager or a boss or something, you can be like, yeah, you know, fuck, I don't know. Like you could say that, right?
If the boss introduced that, and then he made the chatty like that. If he was like, yeah, this motherfucker said that, and you'd be like, yeah, what a motherfucker. You could like second
maybe, okay.
Right? Maybe, right?
Maybe there would be a situation.
But
if Warren Buffett was your boss, I wouldn't be like...
I would not be like, motherfucker.
No. Right.
And I feel like I have to build up to say the MF. Whereas the F is just like, it's so like small.
And I feel like it's just so demeaning to say it to another person. Motherfucker. It's like,
it's a bad thing.
Okay, so do you think in the English language, that's the strongest curse word?
But the thing is, yes and no, but if that is... Man, the English language needs to be more descriptive, if that's all they can do. Because I think in Korean, there's so many more descriptive ways to insult another person.
It is limiting. Like when you look at it, like there's so many things that just don't translate because we don't have that word.
Yeah. There are a lot of those.
I mean, in French, and most of the languages that you look at, like you spend a lot of time learning Korean, you learn there's a whole bunch of different ways to like express yourself, describe yourself.
There's like 4 words for spicy.
Right.
There's
like 5 words for soup. And like in English, we have like what, soup and stew?
Casserole and like, okay.
Casserole's not really a soup though.
It's not. It's a little bit more consistency to it.
Not sure if you knew that. It's not a soup.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, so moving on.
Porridge.
What sound or noise do you love? I know where this is going, John.
Next question.
No. You got to answer it. Put it.
Okay, there's 2.
Okay.
One is like so for me it'd be, I don't have kids, so it would be like my nephew or nieces, them laughing, like a kid laughing.
Kids' laughter.
Dude, that's just the most. It's the most fantastic thing. At least see Bobby going, yeah. And then the other one is, a moan.
A nice moan.
A nice moan.
Not like a ghost.
I've heard some bad moans.
Ooh. Like a haunted house?
Yeah. Or ooey.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Anyways.
A haunted house?
But yeah. Definitely a moan is a nice one.
Yeah.
Makes you kind of think, hey, I'm doing the right things in my life. What sound or noise?
I've made some right choices in my life.
What sound or noise do you hate?
People sneering, or like just when they look down.
People sneering? That's not a sound.
I know, but
can you audibly sneer?
How do you?
Okay,
what sound?
More sucking your teeth. It's like.
Okay, how about like just like piusum, and like that whole like.
It's
although
just not respectful.
That derogatory look and the sound that's associated with that is like that. Or like,
it's funny because all these things that I hate, I do a lot.
You're guilty of
it. Yeah.
So often that's the truth.
That is the truth.
Okay. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I think I am trying to attempt whatever it is. Like, so I don't. But if there was one that I wish I was born to, like if I was whatever certain other circumstances, then maybe a professional athlete. That would have been fun. Yeah. I think that would have been cool.
Okay.
I wanted to be a volleyball player when I was.
Is it more just the competition at the highest level, or is it like more the?
Yeah, I think there's that, and there's
the achievement, like maybe going to the Olympics or.
And there's specific goals that you can kind of work towards. Mm-hmm. That's what I love.
Yeah, sports is a unique thing like that, where you can, like, if you start out, like, you can become a pro, you can go to the Olympics, you can win championships. Like, there's always goals. Really.
There's that goal, and there's steps that you can take. There's, like the way you train, the way you kind of can strengthen your mind, or there's all these things where you can.
Yeah. If you're a goal-oriented person, athletics is an easy thing to fall into because there's always some new goal that you can set for yourself. You can always push the ball.
So I'm just gonna riff off this question, even though it's not on the actual quiz. So we did a whole thing on men's health, like after 40, right? So you were talking about goals, and it sounds like you're pretty goal-oriented. So what are your current fitness goals? Do you have any? Yeah. And after, because our bodies are different.
Because a lot of people probably don't understand that John is probably our fittest.
He's the fittest friend.
Like
I would say when I was an actual pro athlete, I might have been fitter than you, but you're like the fittest friend by far.
I can't say that with confidence. I don't know if I was fitter than you. I mean, like,
you never get tired. We hoop with you.
Oh, dude, we would.
No, you don't
I hooped with you at the 3-on-3. I got tired as hell.
3-on-3. Okay, 3-on-3.
Remember, I was tired.
But 5-on-5, you don't get tired, and you're skying for rebounds. So, tell me, like, are you still goal oriented with your athletic quest, whatever that might be?
I don't. So for me, I just want to be at the gym every day till the day before I die.
Yeah. What do you get out of the gym?
Or maybe even the morning that I die.
Is it an addiction?
Go to the gym and then
die. No, it's not. I don't think it's an addiction.
Is it an obsessive?
Here's one of the things. Like that whole thing of tikul moa tesan, right? I really believe in that, and because the kind of line of work that I do really.
By the way, for our listeners in Wisconsin, that means little things add together to become a mountain.
Yeah. So just the little things, or like something like how you do anything is how you do everything. All those things are things that really mean a lot to me.
So you think that the working out is like the base? Like
I think
your physical fitness. And
so I just got back from Jeju-do yesterday in the morning, and I had work to do, but I had to just jump to the gym real quick.
So I
had to do it.
So you didn't work out when you were in Jeju-do?
I did. I did push-ups and I
prison workout.
Prison workout. Yeah.
No, because I mean, like, honestly, like, not only are you one of the fittest people that I know, but your dedication and like working out as a part of your schedule, like no matter what.
No, so
like,
that's
it's like very impressive to me.
That's one of my biggest lessons in my life, because I have friends who just do push-ups and they get big or whatever, right? Or we started working out together, they got big and I never got big, and that's one of my biggest things. It's one of my biggest mysteries. And
you want to get big?
Well, I mean, I want to just. I always wanted to. Now it's not a matter of, I want to be fucking yoked or whatever, right? But
I can see that. In the 90s, I was taking creatine and protein, and I thought it would make me a better basketball player.
But the thing is, that was a big lesson for me. It taught me patience, and it made me more... Because all those friends that are, they get big in 2 months or whatever, right? They get lazy after because they have like short-term goals. So it made me realize, and for me, like even writing or all of the things that I've pursued require just grit. Just do it. Don't look at that... Small goals are good too, but look at that big picture and just do it every day. And for me, that's been the biggest, like, okay.
No, like one of the most impressive things about that whole thing with me is like that I see in you is that you have the dedication and the dedication to be able to do it every day. Because a lot of people are like, yo, I'm gonna get fit, I'm gonna get in the gym, and then don't. Or like they'll go in there, they hit hard for a month and stop. But like this is something that is in your life daily. Like, I think most of the times I see you and I meet you, you're on the way to the gym or from the gym.
On a stolen bike. John steals bikes, by the way.
I found.
I mean, whatever it may be, like it's impressive because it's hard to find time. It's hard to find time to do that. But the fact that you make time every single day.
I try. I mean, but that's why it's there's never an excuse. You just got to do it.
Right.
It's not a...
Well, and I think a lot of people would assume that me and Eric, just because we played pro basketball for so long, that like, oh, this is just second nature. Most professional athletes, when they retire, that's the day they start becoming fatter and fatter and fatter. So they become Charles Barkley or Shaq. Because we don't really have to develop the habits and the discipline because we always have somebody telling us to get in the gym.
Right.
Because working out is associated with that goal of basketball, not with, like, let's say your life or whatever it is.
And I think after you retire, when you get onto PhaseTwo, that's when you have to start building that, like what you have, which is why it's kind of inspirational. Like
I would say this: like
I got a tear in my eye.
If most professional athletes had the discipline that you had to work out this way, they'd probably be better athletes.
They probably would have been better athletes, right?
Like honestly, like we worked out because we had to. Right? We didn't have a choice. But you work out as a choice to enhance your life and how you.
I just want to be healthy. I don't know. For me, it's 당연해. I mean, it's just only obvious, but yeah, I can understand why.
Because like most athletes, they get done and like they get big, like because they're like the way they ate, the way they lived their life wasn't actually healthy. It's just that they're working out so much and they look the way they looked, right?
And it's about, and I tell my girlfriend this all the time because it's like, I always tell her because she doesn't have the best habits. So then right before she shoots, my girlfriend's an actress. Right before she shoots, she like kills herself for the last week because
like
she's
a binge,
whatever.
Like, yeah.
But it's like, why do that? Just have normal habits every day.
If you're always ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's like that thing that we talked about. It's about preparation.
Yeah.
Like anytime you get a call, do whatever you need to do, you're ready, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like if someone who's big is like, man, I got to shoot in a month. I got to go on a crash diet. I got to work out 5 times a day. I got to do this. I got to do that, which is a lot harder than just being in shape. Because everyone that works out knows that like when you're in shape, it feels great. Was it Kate Moss that said there's nothing
that tastes better than looking good or something like that.
So it's like if you always like look good, right? I mean that's like, on whatever level.
That's pretty deep.
It's highly superficial, but it's it's got levels.
There's a profoundness to that.
Because think about it, if you're always like in like a certain level of shape where you're in good shape, it's not hard to be in great shape. Yeah. But once you get out of shape, it's really hard to get back to level 1.
No, but there was a point, like let's say 5 years ago, I had a friend who was on base. He was in charge of the gym or physical fitness or whatever on base. And I went to work out on the base, and he's like, okay, let's do this workout. He put me through this one like sled workout. And afterwards I was about to throw up, and I sat. That was the first time in my life I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm not a professional athlete. Why am I doing this?
I get into that too.
Yeah. Why am I doing this? And after that, I got a little bit like, okay, I'm just going to work out.
Do your shit.
Yeah.
Do what's right for you.
But nothing like, I'm not training for the Olympics. What am I doing this for? Yeah.
Now we always think about that. Like you see these guys that are just like yoked, like selling phones, and you're like, well, how does that help you? I'm like, this is dude that looks like a bodybuilder. I'm like, why are you selling like
dangerous job, man? You might get jumped.
I'm like, why are you that big working at Verizon?
But I also think those high intensity, like whatever, like kind of like those CrossFit or whatever, those are fun workouts, especially like young kids with a lot of energy do it and all this kind of stuff. But it's hard to sustain that level of energy.
It's a fad.
It's hard to like run till you puke every day. Like you should just go for a light jog every day, and that's probably better over the long period of time.
Or choose whatever it is that you can do consistently for the rest of your life, or for 30 years.
Because it's like if you get to be like a bodybuilder, say you get really big, right? What it takes to sustain that level is like massive. You got to eat, you got to work out.
Dude,
you gotta sleep,
look at like Dorian Yates. His body, body's all messed up.
You seen the documentary that he?
I didn't see his documentary, but I mean, dude, I used to love Dorian Yates. Or what's the other guy? The cop who can't walk well now.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
Kindergarten.
He was an 8-time Mr. Olympia winner.
Chief Quimby.
Anyway. But him, like, there's a lot of people with physical problems.
Okay. We got sidetracked on the fitness. We love fitness. Sorry. Okay. Two more questions. What profession would you not like to do? I mean, there's a ton of those.
There's a ton of those.
Cleaning up shit at a...
Just whatever is dangerous. I don't know. I'm like a pussy.
Cleaning up shit at a diarrhea factory.
Like just anything, let's say...
The diarrhea factory.
Yeah, whatever. For me, dangerous.
Dangerous?
Yeah.
Really?
Or dealing with dirty shit. Yeah. Like.
So you wouldn't want to be like a drug dealer or like a...
Yeah,
like a
I don't want to risk my life on...
What about a soldier? Is that the most dangerous job?
That's why I give a lot of credit to soldiers. I think.
But okay. So let's just narrow in on one dangerous job, because actually, I think I heard that one of the most dangerous jobs is actually like delivering food.
Oh,
like
really?
On those scooters, like they have more accidents and more probability of getting like bike messengers, like quick service and bike.
Or those Alaskan crab fishermen or whatever. They said that's pretty dangerous too.
Me and Eric were thinking about that. That's big where we come from. Everyone goes in the summer. You're in college, you come home with like 10 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
That's life-changing money when you're in college.
Yeah, definitely dangerous.
Okay, so you hate danger. Last question. If heaven exists, do you think heaven exists?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. What would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? Bro, you're ripped.
Let's go ball. Let's go play some ball.
No, okay, seriously though, seriously. Yeah. You wanna hoop with God?
That'd be badass.
What if God was just terrible at it? He's like,
how do I do this?
He's like, have you seen the Office episode where Stanley's playing basketball?
You think God would play basketball like Stanley? God's probably like Jordan, LeBron, and like all these guys combined.
What if you do say let's go hoop and it's just Jordan?
He's like,
no. He's like, oh, you were a basketball god.
That's a funny little short film kind of. So here's here's one that I want to ask you guys.
Okay.
From the Tim Ferriss show.
Now the hunter is the hunted.
No, but when I had my little podcast, I kind of did a version of this, right? If you can send a text message to like 1 billion people in the world, like what would you send them? 1 billion people. So like besides nothing commercial.
I would just tell the world to fucking relax. Like honestly, like
fucking relax.
No, but first of all, I'm hurt that you never invited us onto your podcast.
Oh, when I started again. No.
I find out that
you would tell the world to relax.
This was 3 years ago. This is 3 years ago when we were. I didn't. But
when we were talking about the huddle.
No, that's 2 years ago.
Okay.
But this was 3 or more years ago, and I did want to invite you because it was in Korean, so I wanted to invite you to. Yeah.
So you would send
I wouldn't phrase it like that.
You would send 1 billion text messages. I'd be like, just fucking relax.
Yeah, that's
but I would say
of all the things.
No, but like it would be a longer. It'd be like all.
So you're talking about an MMS?
Like not an MMS. It doesn't have to be long.
More charges apply.
I'm like a little paragraph just saying like all the stuff that we get worked up about, like like little issues like gay marriage or like and not to belittle like these issues, but the things that the politicians use to get us all worked up about stuff, like climate change and all these kind of stuff. It's just like, and people get so wound up about that they're not like living in their real, Republican, Democrat, all this kind of stuff.
Just be real, right?
Just relax, like. Yeah. You're gonna be fine. Like that's all I would like to say. Like, because we do get caught up and we do stress and we do worry and that, and they say that's cancer.
This sounds more like an email than a text.
What about you? An email.
Okay, E.
What would you do?
But on the end of that email, I'd be like, by the way, send $100 to.
Please send money.
I'd probably just tell the if I could send out 1 billion texts to everyone in the world, it would probably be something along the lines of, tell the person next to you that you love them.
What if they're next to someone they don't love?
Just love them.
What's the problem with telling like that's the thing. It's like there's people like, especially in America now, you look and people are scared of their neighbors. There's this thing where people are like scared of people that they should know. And society's becoming like, people are more into their phones, they're more individual, they become more isolationist. And like the community aspect of like, hey, we're all in this together, which we all are. Like now people are starting to go away from that and like, look, like the guy next to you is a human. He's probably thinking about the same things that you are. And if you just go up to him and like break the ice and be like, dude, look, whatever's going on, like, is it really that big of a deal?
We are more
like why don't we just love each other?
We're more alike than we are unlike.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the thing is like after we started traveling, learning languages and all this other stuff, you realize that people all over the world have the same issues, the same fears, the same loves.
Totally.
They deal with the same shit that you deal with. If you live in New York or New Delhi or South Africa or whatever, like you deal with the same shit.
It's pretty inspirational. I don't know if it's true, but I saw a YouTube video where some black dude, and he became friends, like almost best of friends with KKK, some high dude.
No, I saw. I didn't watch the video, but I saw it.
Watch it.
The guy was on Joe Rogan.
Oh, was he on Joe Rogan?
I
didn't know that, but it's awesome because the guy, like there's even racism, or they're more similar, but it's like, you're right. It's like it's very related.
Yeah, I think the world just needs more love, man. Like they don't like, you can't look at things that you don't know and then not like it or hate it. Because hate's a strong word. Yeah. Like all these things are there's really no place for it. There's no need for it anymore. Like why do you not need to know about your neighbor? Why can't you just go up and talk to him?
John, what text are you sending out?
I think John's sending out not a text, but he's probably sending out like a voice text.
So one of my questions, one of my like unanswerable philosophical questions is, I wish people like politicians, religious people, really like they weren't hypocrites. I wish because politicians are supposed to serve the people. I wish you weren't a liar. Yeah, politicians are supposed to serve the people, but they're just serving themselves. It's like, who care? Like for a politician, I want to ask them, do you really care about your country? For like a religious person, I want to ask, do you really care about your people that you're supposed to care to take? Because it's like, they're not about the interests of those people. They're all about their own interests. And it's like, why the fuck are you doing that?
So you're not sending out a billion texts. You're sending out texts to politicians and people in power.
No, but so I don't know. I'd word it. If I were to have to word it in like 10 words, it's like, don't be a hypocrite, you cocksucker or whatever, right? No.
That's a better curse word than fuck.
Cocksucker, yeah. But I would say something to the point of really think about like what you're doing, because it's like, don't be a dick.
I think people don't really understand. Like seriously, like, people don't understand like the effect that they have. Like you throw a rock in a pool of water, like there's ripples, right?
Yeah.
What you do this person has an effect on the next person, the next person, the next person, and people don't like really see it. Like they don't look past what they're doing.
No, but and I've been guilty of that when I was young. Like when I look back on when I was younger, it's like I actually, and I say this, I recently got invited to a text group chat of my old college buddies from one of my second college. And this one guy in there, he never really liked me that much, right? But then looking back now, it's like, yeah, I understand why you didn't like me. I was such a loud, brash idiot, man. When I look back at myself, I'm like, I was such a fucking, I still am, but I was even more of an idiot, It's like, God, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When I think about that, I always think like, would I hang out with my younger self?
Yeah,
and sometimes I would, and then sometimes when you have these memories of things that you're not too proud of, and you're like, oh God, I wish I would never hang out with that guy.
Yeah, that I would be so annoyed of my younger self.
For sure.
It's like, shut the fuck up. That's what I would say to myself.
Just fucking relax.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note,
yeah.
Okay, we're about to wrap it up, but just real quick, because we are the election's like next week. Quick prediction, not asking where you're leaning.
Yeah.
What do you think's gonna happen? Like if you're betting, like you could be a Biden supporter, but if you think the Vegas odds for Trump or whatever, and you're gonna try to make $1 million off this election, who are you voting for?
I get this.
Or who are you not voting for? But
who do I think will win?
Who would you bet money on?
I have this weird feeling Trump's gonna win.
I kind of like, even though because last year at this time or last election, Hillary was ahead, like in all the metrics.
Yeah.
And then Trump won, right?
Yeah.
So I think there is kind of like, you don't know, even though Biden's slightly ahead. I don't know. It's tough. The incumbent's always tough to beat.
The thing is though, like looking at like, and I'm not like an analyst or whatever, but like, it just seems like, is there really a good candidate? It seems like they're both about the same. And like the unfortunate thing is like, you go one way or the other, and like, what's really?
I think it's going to be a lot closer this time than people think. I think because Biden's ahead, I think a lot of people are thinking Biden's going to win. But then the incumbent, like you don't understand, like these guys.
Even if he wins, like then that's going to create a whole nother thing. Like he might not leave office.
So right now we have Pengman on to bet on the election.
Sure.
Who are you betting on?
I think Trump's probably going to win.
John?
Yeah, I have a weird feeling Trump's going to win.
I'm going to go Biden with my Pengman on.
Yeah.
And who knows? It'd be interesting if this was real.
We're making money.
No, because here's the thing. The only reason I think is because people did the same thing last year. They thought there's no way Trump's going to win. And then Trump came back.
So it's the opposite.
I think people learned a lesson. And you're seeing the numbers for the early polling is record breaking. But we'll see. Like I don't think it's a clear cut thing.
It's going to come down to all the people who didn't vote.
I think it comes down to
right.
But it also accounts for all the people who were Trump supporters who didn't vote last time. So
my brother has faith in humanity.
I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea, but
I don't know, man. I mean, something needs to change. Like, and I hope that
I admit.
I hope Biden wins, but I have a bad feeling.
Yeah, me too.
I have a really bad feeling.
All right. Well, John, fuck.
Yeah, man.
This has been awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much
Thank you for having me. We
actually went
really
over. We're trying to keep it to an hour.
Oh, that's
great.
I
think
we can cut out some of
John's moaning was
right. Appreciate it, man. Well, like definitely. Thanks for coming on, and
I thank you for having me.
And we'd love to have you back sometime again.
Anytime, just let me know, man.
Awesome.
All right, brother.
Gracias.